tale of La Noche Triste, or the Night of Sorrows, is one of the most dramatic and tragic episodes in the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire. It occurred on the night of June the 30th to July the 1st, 1520, and was marked by the desperate escape of Spanish conquistadors from the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan. This event is inextricably linked to the legendary lost treasure that the Spanish attempted to carry with them, only to lose it in the chaotic retreat. The story begins with Hernán Cortés, a Spanish conquistador who led an expedition that caused the fall of the Aztec Empire. After initially forging an uneasy alliance with the Aztecs, Cortés and his men found themselves in a precarious situation. Tensions had been building for months, exuberated by the capture of the Aztec Emperor Moctezuma II, who was taken hostage by the Spanish to ensure their safety and compliance. Despite these measures, the Spanish presence in Tenochtitlan became increasingly untenable. The Aztecs, under the leadership of Cuitlahua, Moctezuma's brother, grew more hostile. Their resentment culminated in a fierce uprising against the Spanish occupiers. Moctezuma, coerced into addressing his people in an attempt to quell the rebellion, was struck by stones and mortally wounded. His death further inflamed the situation, making the Spanish position in the city increasingly dangerous. Recognizing the dire circumstances, Cortés decided to flee the city under the cover of darkness. He planned the escape meticulously, intending to slip away during the night when the Aztec warriors would be less vigilant. On that fateful night, the Spanish, along with their Tlaxcalan allies, attempted to make their way out of Tenochtitlan across the causeways that connected the island city to the mainland. The Spanish carried with them vast amounts of treasure, including gold, silver, and precious stones. This wealth, accumulated through the plunder and as tribute from the Aztecs, was a significant burden. Despite Cortés's orders to leave the heavy treasures behind to facilitate a swift escape, many of his men, driven by greed, refused to comply. They loaded themselves with as much loot as they could carry, slowing their progress and making them vulnerable. As the Spanish and their allies made their way across the causeways, they were discovered by Aztec warriors. A fierce battle ensued, with the Aztecs launching relentless attacks from canoes and the causeway itself. The weight of the treasure and the narrow, exposed causeways made the Spanish retreat chaotic and deadly. Many Spaniards, weighed down by their plunder, fell into the waters of Lake Texcoco and drowned. Many were killed by Aztec warriors in a brutal melee. The retreat turned into a rout, with many Spaniards and their Tlaxcalan allies perishing in the escape. The causeways were littered with bodies and abandoned treasure. The once organized retreat had devolved into a desperate struggle for survival. By the time the survivors reached the mainland, the Spanish had suffered significant casualties, and much of the treasure they sought to protect was lost to the lake. This night came to be known as La Noche Triste, or the Night of Sorrows, due to the heavy losses suffered by the Spanish. Cortés himself reportedly wept under a tree, lamenting the disastrous turn of events and the loss of so many men, so much wealth. Despite this setback, Cortés would eventually regroup, forming new alliances and returning to lay siege on Tenochtitlan, ultimately leading to the fall of the Aztec Empire in 1521. The lost treasure of La Noche Triste remains one of the great mysteries of the Spanish conquest. The gold, silver, and jewels that sank into the waters of Lake Texcoco have never been fully recovered. Over the centuries, many treasure hunters and archaeologists have searched for the remains of this lost wealth, but it remains elusive, buried beneath layers of sediment and the passage of time. La Noche Triste stands as a poignant reminder of the cost of conquest and the fleeting nature of wealth. It encapsulates the tragic clash of civilizations and the human greed that often accompanies such encounters. The legend of the lost treasure endures, symbolizing the high stakes and profound consequences of the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire.